Good day. I'm here again doing another guide in my Kingdom Come Deliverance series. So today I'm going to be doing a guide on how to overcome multi-combat. Okay, I've got a save game that's um, right before this encounter. So how do we overcome multiple enemies? So first of all, if you are playing the normal, quote unquote, normal way, um, you would be probably wearing full armor, and this will help a lot. Um, I'm using very good armor, um, so this will obviously make these encounters quite a breeze. But if you are struggling with the encounters, it's definitely will make a big difference having the right armor. Um, so, but other things that you can use would be potions and consumables. So you could have a Lazarus potion to help keep you alive. You could have a Buck's Blood potion, which will increase your stamina, which will assist you, well, which will help prevent you from getting stamina broken. And also, you can coat your weapon in poison, um, or perhaps a different coating of your choice, um, which will help you to finish off these enemies a little bit easier. And also, obviously, having a good weapon is going to help a lot, especially with taking down these weaker enemies that tend to overwhelm and surround you. Um, and of course, the stats and perks do play a big part in overcoming these encounters. As for things like combos, these are only really important when taking on the big, strong enemy, because most encounters are built up of having multiple weak enemies and one strong enemy. Um, so this is having your combos isn't particularly important, but what is more important would be things like warfare, which helps you to strike faster, um, and just generally do more damage. But striking faster will basically let you get attacks off um, quicker and without them getting blocked or master struck, which is especially useful again for taking down the weaker enemies. Um, Vitality affects your stamina and stamina regen rate, so it's very useful. Um, and strength and agility, well, one thing, there's obviously many useful perks in strength to do more damage, and clinch master, it can be useful to clinch in multi-combat because when you clinch, you won't get attacked by the enemies. Um, but also, this perk here, Dreadful, so not only will it make foes flee from combat, but also says the ones who do fight will be less determined, which basically means they're just going to stand back and be less willing to engage in combat. And that will also synergize with the agility tree taunt. Um, Whether you actually dodge in combat, it really just depends on the player. But if you do, this will also lower their morale even further. So again, that will make opponents hesitant to engage in combat and standoffish, which all this will work together to basically just allow you to deal with one target at a time or a couple targets at once and just slowly um, get rid of the enemies. Um, but you will need to prioritize um, the weaker targets first, which will just help you not get overwhelmed. Try not to get baited into um, targeting the strongest opponents because you'll end up just wasting a lot of time and taking a lot of damage to your armor, which either you'll end up getting killed or have to spend a lot of money repairing your armor. Okay, so this fight is actually going to be really easy. I'm hesitant to actually buff up for this because it's just going to be too easy, so I'm not going to do it. And I'm just going to go and engage these opponents. And one more thing is, remember to check in your settings the various ways in which you can swap targets, because it is important swapping targets on PC. You can either do it with tab key or scroll wheel. I'll be doing it with scroll wheel for this encounter, just so that I can try and pick the right targets. Alright, so I'm going to engage. I'm just going to see what happens. So there's a few enemies here. I'm going to hold my shield up. That should hopefully get off me, dog. Alright, seems like I beat the dog in a clinch. I'm not particularly... So I'm getting surrounded here. They're doing damage to my stamina, which is really bad. I just need to try and kite and get out of the situation. Alright, see if I can get a stab off on these guys. And see, I don't really need... While you can try and master strike, and it is much easier to master strike weak opponents, you don't need to, because they're weak opponents. They're not really going to... They're not really going to block your strikes anyways. Alright, oh wow, that guy just runs straight into that blow. Yeah, I was having a few issues with lock-on, which is one thing that you definitely might experience, is having these issues with lock-on. Oh, there's an archer. So dealing with archers, it's all about just footwork, trying to kite those blows and avoid getting directly hit while you're fighting the others, but you can always try and run them down. So yeah, this guy should be super easy. Don't even need to do anything special. I'm just gonna stab, and it's become clear that, you know, that was such an easy encounter. One, because my armor was good, and it stopped me from getting killed when I kind of got overwhelmed. But also just overall my stats and perks made it a lot easier. So it was really a no-brainer. But just using these basic skills of managing the opponents, prioritizing targets, you know, using buffs where necessary. As you can see, also this guy, you know, he's a bit tougher. So fighting this guy is going to be more like fighting Bernard, because he's going to actually actively block my strikes, and he'll master strike and whatnot. So you can fight him with the classic master strike technique. You can use combos, you can use feints, whatever you want. But as he is the strongest target, you know, we should leave him for last and deal with the others, which we did. And that looks like that's the encounter done. So I didn't really make any use of the dodging perk, but even so, there was some examples in this fight of how the bandits would kind of stand back a bit due to low morale, and they were kind of hesitant to rush in. So that kind of thing did help, but most of all, it was just a stat check. If you intend to do these encounters without wearing full heavy armor, you are at massive risk of getting overwhelmed and stamina broke. But at the same time, if you're not wearing heavy armor, it means that you'll be lighter and you will run faster. And you can also, I highly recommend leveling up your agility so that you can run faster. So just using mobility, you should be able to at the very least, sort of run in, do some damage, and then just completely escape the counter. Hopefully the enemies will get stuck, single them out, that sort of thing. But anyways, I hope this guide helped.